Hey guys, what's up? I'm Rohit Khurana, host of Intellect Digest, and recently launched Xiaomi Redmi Note 3, which starts at 10,000 rupees for the 16GB 2GB variant and goes up to 12,000 rupees for the 32 gigs internal memory and 3GB RAM variant. Is a phone which compares very closely to the likes of the Lenovo Vibe K4 Note and Coolpad Note 3, which is a lower priced phone at 9,000 rupees. Let's pit all these three phones against each other and find out which one is better for you. Let's get started with this comparison. I'll start with the design of the phones, and all three phones are nice designs in their own right. The Coolpad Note 3, which is the least priced among these three, comes with a compact design, easy to hold in hand. All three sport a similar screen size of 5.5 inch. There is also plastic and polycarbonate and metal design on the Lenovo Vibe K4 Note. The sides are metal but the back is plastic. On the Coolpad Note 3, however, entire phone is made up of plastic. The Redmi Note 3 takes it to another level with a unibody metal design which comes with this anodized aluminium finish, which looks very rich and premium. If I have to pick one purely on the basis of design, my first preference is the Redmi Note 3 because it's all metal and very premium to feel in hand, followed by the Lenovo Vibe K4 Note because it also uses metal to the sides and feels very premium and rich in build quality, followed by the Coolpad Note 3. Don't get me wrong, but the Coolpad Note 3 is the least priced device among these three, and it is okay if it does not have metal build construction. All three phones support a fingerprint scanner which is placed almost identically on all these phones below the camera module on the rear. We found that all three fingerprint scanners are fast, accurate and have very good detection rate. Next up, SIM card options. The Redmi Note 3 is kind of the weakest link here because it has a hybrid second SIM card slot. What it means is that you can either put a second SIM or a micro SD card, but not both at the same time. Whereas the other two phones, both the K4 Note as well as the Coolpad Note 3, give you two discrete SIM card slots where you can put two SIM cards and a micro SD card separately so that you can expand the memory if required. Next up, display quality. All three sport a 5.5 inch display, but if you talk about the display resolution, you would find full high definition 1080p displays on the K4 Note as well as the Redmi Note 3. The colors being most vibrant on the Redmi Note 3. If you are talking purely from display richness perspective, we find that the Redmi Note 3 is among the best, closely followed by the K4 Note, closely followed by the Coolpad Note 3, which does not have as rich pixel per inch density, which comes out to be 267 compared to 401 or 403 on the K4 Note and Redmi Note 3 respectively. But when it comes to outdoor visibility and absolute brightness of the displays, impressively and interestingly, the Coolpad Note 3 panel is the brightest among three and the outdoor visibility is the best on the Coolpad Note 3. So if you work a lot outdoors, Coolpad Note 3 is the best choice, followed by the Redmi Note 3 and K4 Note. Talking of audio quality and loudness, there is Dolby Atmos surround software on Lenovo K4 Note. There is dual firing front facing speakers which are the loudest and the best among these three phones. It's hands down the winner when it comes to audio quality, closely followed by the Redmi Note 3 which comes second, followed by the Coolpad Note 3 which comes third. The best camera that we find among these three phones is found on the Redmi Note 3. It's not only about megapixels, the other two phones get 13 megapixel while this one gets a 16 megapixel rear shooter. But this is also more about detailing, sharpness, focusing as well as the richness in the output images. And here are some samples on your screen why we say the rear camera is best on the Redmi Note 3. In terms of the front facing cameras as well, we find that the Redmi Note 3 is performing best, very closely followed by the K4 Note, then followed by the Coolpad Note 3, which lacks detailing and is slightly grainy when it comes to image quality with the front facing camera. When it comes to the internals, The Redmi Note 3 is the fastest with a Snapdragon 650 hexa-core processor, which comes with the fastest CPU architecture. It also gets the best GPU, which is Adreno 510. The other two phones are paired with MediaTek's 6753 chipset, which is identical on both the phones, which is clocked at 1.3 GHz and is an octa-core processor for both K4 Note as well as Coolpad Note 3. Which is no coincidence that their performance scores on Antutu benchmark are also very close at 35,000 and 38,000 respectively for Coolpad Note 3 and Lenovo Vibe K4 Note. Whereas the Redmi Note 3 does a strikingly 75,000 score on Antutu, which is twice that of what you get on the other two phones. Weirdly enough, you get 3 GB of RAM on the Coolpad Note 3 and the K4 Note, but on the entry variant of the Redmi Note 3 you get only 2 GB of RAM, and the top variant, which is at 12,000 rupees, you get 3 GB of RAM with 32 GB internal memory. If you are a gamer and if you bother about performance, I would suggest you go for the Redmi Note 3, which is hands down the best phone when it comes to performance compared to other two phones that we are comparing with. It comes with a far superior GPU and a far superior CPU compared to the other two phones. Talking of some other important features, you get USB OTG support on all the phones. You get fast charging support on none of these phones. There is a 2 ampere charger at 5 volt provided with the K4 Note and Redmi Note 3, whereas the Coolpad Note 3 gets only 1 ampere charger. When it comes to battery capacity, there is smallest battery with the Coolpad Note 3 at 3000 mAh, followed by 3300 on Lenovo Vibe K4 Note, and the largest battery of 4050 mAh that you get on the Redmi Note 3, which also lasts the longest when it comes to battery performance. In terms of software experience, the Redmi Note 3 comes with Xiaomi MIUI version 7 running on top of Android Lollipop. You get Vibe UI on Lollipop on the K4 Note, and you get Cool UI on top of Lollipop on the Coolpad Note 3. All three are fast, responsive, and none of them stutters or lags. If you ask me the best in terms of performance among these three, I would say the fastest here is the Redmi Note 3 because of its powerful CPU and GPU configuration, closely followed by the other two phones, which are almost alike when it comes to performance. One extra special feature that you get on the Redmi Note 3 apart from that is that there is an infrared blaster on top of it. This feature is altogether missing on the other two phones. All three phones are excellent when it comes to their own feature set, but if you have to pick one among these three, I would suggest that you pick up the Redmi Note 3, which is hands down the best phone in terms of build quality and performance among these three, very closely followed by the Lenovo Vibe K4 Note, followed by the Coolpad Note 3 if you are on a very tight budget and cannot spend more than 9,000 rupees. I'm leaving Best Buy links to all three phones in the description section below, where you can pick either of them at the Best Buy price, so do check out the links in the description section. If you enjoyed watching this video and this video comparison helped you, give us a thumbs up by pressing the like button below. For more such comparison videos, stay subscribed by pressing the red subscribe button. This is your host Rohit Khurana signing off. Thanks for watching.